Shivaya, Om Namah 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 Shivaya.
Dear family and friends, good morning, Vanakkam, Namaskaram, Om Saram, and we have assembled here today to pay our last respects and also to celebrate a life. Celebrate a life of this dear beloved lying in state. I want to commence this celebration of life with prayer. I would appreciate if we can all bow our heads in prayer. Thank you. Om Gajananam Buddhaganati Sevitam Kapit Jambo Palachar Bhakshanam Mumasitam Shoka Vinashakarakam Namami Vigneshwara Padapanjakam. Om Shivaya Gauri Vadana Vrinda Suryaya Dakshineshwarana Shakaya Shri Nilakantaya Vishwajaya Tasmai Shri Karaya Namah Shivaya. Om Ola Galamuna Ola Puvariyava Nilavunaviya Nirmalivediya Alagasoria Amharatvarva Malasilam we prostrate to that Shivaling which is worshipped by Brahma and Vishnu, which is pure and bright and which destroys all life's difficulties. We prostrate to that Shiva who is worshipped by gods and sages, who destroys desire, bestows grace, and which destroyed Ravana's pride. We prostrate to that Shivaling, smeared with sandal paste, which is the cause of the unfoldment of intelligence, which is worshipped by the Siddhas and gods. We prostrate to that Shivaling, decorated with gold and diamonds, and the Lord of snakes, and the destroyer of Daksha's sacrifice. We prostrate to that Shivaling, which is decorated with kumkum, chandan, and a garland of lotuses, which destroys the bondage of all previous actions. We prostrate to that Shivaling, worshipped by the host of gods, which transforms our emotions into devotion, and which is bright like a million suns. We prostrate to that Shivaling, surrounded by the 8 directions, the true cause of all creation, which destroys the 8 forms of distress, example, lust, greed, and anger. We prostrate to that Shivaling, worshipped by the host of gods, and Brihaspati, with the choicest of flowers, which is the ultimate form of Paramatma. Thank you very much. Thank you, dear family. You may take your seats. Dear family and friends, like I mentioned already, we have assembled here to pay our respects, to celebrate this life of our dear, beloved lying in state. We are going to now offer you the opportunity, of paying your respects. So we'd appreciate if you could all come through, pay your respects. The immediate family are sitting on either side. Give them your support, give them your love. They need that. They need that now, at this point in their bereavement. They need that strength. So we're going to allow you the next 15 minutes to do so, if you can come through while we play some bhajans on tape. Thank you.
Vegas முருகையா வெற்றி வேல் முருகையா சரவண பவ
Dear family and friends, you have now, thank you for so lovingly coming and offering your support to the immediate family. We want to go on to celebrating this life, and in celebration, we offer tribute. When we offer tribute, we bring out the characteristics, the qualities, the virtues, the morals, the attitudes, the aptitudes of this individual that was amongst us. And today I want to call on both his children, Tyler and Cameron, to offer tribute.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Tyler. I'm Mergan's son. My dad was more than just my father. He was my best friend, my gym partner. He was a person I looked up to, learned from, and loved deeply. It's hard for me to put into words how much he meant to me. My dad was an amazing person. He was always kind, very smart, and he loved me and my family more than anything. He had the special ability to make people important and loved when they were around him. His passing away has left a big hole in my heart. It's incredibly painful, and I miss him already. But even in the sadness, I try to focus on the good times we had together. The things he taught me, the stories he told me, and the moments we shared are like precious treasures to me. My dad was my rock during tough times, and he showed me how to stay strong when life gets hard. He taught me how to keep going, to be kind to others, and work hard for what I want. My father gave me the greatest gift anyone could give another person. He believed in me. If I grow up to be half the person he was, then I'll consider my life a success. As we gather here today to remember him, let's not just think about the sadness of his absence. Instead, let's celebrate the wonderful things he brought to our lives. His lessons, his values, and the love he gave us will always be with us. I'm sure he's especially proud of me today to look this sexy in a suit. And I'm sure that he's proud of standing here giving a speech for him when I told him I wouldn't. Dad, I don't know if you're here, but I promise I'll take care of the family and continue the legacy you left behind. For me, I'll have to take over the role of being the strongest member of the bloodline to exist. That I promise. I love you, Dad, forever and always. I just like to also say thank you for the families and friends to join us on this day. My dad would be so happy right now to see his family and friends gathered all in one room. Seeing so many people here to say goodbye to Dad today shows how loved he was and how much he will be missed. Thank you.
It's never easy to say goodbye to someone who has been a part of your lives. When that person is gone, there is a hole where he used to be in your life. That's what many of us are feeling today. We gather here today to celebrate the remarkable life of a beloved man, a devoted father, and a cherished friend. My father was a beacon of love, wisdom, and strength, and his passing leaves a void that cannot be filled. He taught us the importance of kindness, the value of hard work, and the strength that comes from family bonds. His laughter was infectious, and his guidance was unwavering. He touched the lives of everyone he met, leaving a legacy of love and compassion. Dad, you were such an amazing father and the best friend. Seeing you suffering the past years was so hard for me to see, because there was nothing I could do to change the circumstances. And seeing you in pain every day was traumatic, and I want to thank you for staying strong and giving it your all. Dad, I want you to know that you will never be forgotten, because you have left behind a legacy. I remember the time you took us to the park to play with our scooters, and as we hopped out of the car, we were being chased by ducks. And the time you taught me how to play basketball on the grounds. Dad, I just want you to say how much I admire you. I admire you because you were such a bubbly and outgoing person who left a big impact in different people's lives. And so many people shared memories with you and will forever remember. Dad, these past few weeks have been hard, but I enjoyed taking care of you and annoying you till you would get annoyed. But I know you loved it. To see you suffer was hard because I wanted to make more memories with you. And I wanted you to see me finish matric, graduate, get my first job, and see if I walk me down the aisle, and to see your future grandchildren. But I'm not mad at you, Dad. I'm happy that you don't have to suffer any longer, and that you're in peace. At least you made it to my matric dance. Seeing your face light up when I walk through that door, and seeing you smile after so long, put the biggest and most happiest smile on my face, because I could see how happy and mesmerized you were. Pops, I love you so much, and thank you for making me who I am today. Let us celebrate his life, his love, and profound impact he had on all of us. May his legacy continue to shine brightly, guiding us through the challenges of life with the wisdom he so generously shared. Thank you, and let us carry his memory in our hearts always. Thank you.
Dear family and friends, so you've heard the love that has been expressed. So I want to open the tributes to anyone that would love to offer a tribute. I know it's not been arranged with any one of you, but if you feel inclined to offer a tribute, and I know his work colleagues are here, his friends are here. So if you want to say a few words, you're welcome to come forward and just let me know, and we can offer that tribute. Thank you very much. For those that may have not paid their respects, you're welcome to contribute. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to say a tribute to Mergan. I think basically on behalf of many of his workday colleagues who are sitting over here, and over here. A couple of us have been through this journey with MERGAN. Particularly, I'd like to sort of announce Lynn over there, my partner. MERGAN came to Lynn every Saturday morning for some treatment, and I think she got to know him on a next level. And I think he really took to Lynn, and the fact that we tried to make him better, which really was an acknowledgement that we were trying our best. In terms of the workday colleagues who are sitting around here, he will be he'll be missed so much. I think I met MERGAN about 13 years ago. There are some of his colleagues sitting here today. I think I've known him for about 18, 19 years. And I'd just like to say that he was possibly one of the finest men I've ever come across. He will really be missed by everyone who's known him. Thank you.
Good afternoon, family and friends and loved ones. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. A limb has fallen off our family tree. And MERGAN was the best of us. We can never understand the mysteries of life and death. But what I do know is that God has preordained our lives in the Lamb's Book of Life before we were even conceived in our mother's wombs. Inasmuch as our hearts are broken and the pain that we feel today is just immeasurable. I cannot explain or fathom why this has had to happen, but we have to trust in God's plan. MERGAN was the best of us. My fondest memory, in as much as we are saddened, I also want to take this opportunity to celebrate his life. My fondest memory of my brother was the day he was born. I was 4 years old then, and Mummy had just given birth, and we were told that MERGAN had jaundice. And my auntie Ragi is here, she was living with us. He was born at McCord's Hospital in Overport, and children were not allowed into the hospital. And my aunt left me standing outside, and she went in to see Mom. But being me, and the rebel that I am, I ran into the hospital, followed my aunt to the ward where my brother was kept. And I remember Mommy showing him to me. This was my baby brother. My mom and dad's first son. It's myself, my sister, and then MERGAN was born on Mommy's birthday. And she always said that he was her gift. And they're so alike in character, in personality. Timid, humble, sweet, never interfering in anyone's lives, always guiding, supporting. That quiet, humble strength is what we know MERGAN by. MERGAN has made such an impact on so many lives, and today is testimony to that. Not only his family and his friends, but even his family at SMEG. I've heard so much about so many of you through him, and how he treasured each one of you. That was my brother, always making each and every one feel important. That special person, we all felt special, irrespective of where you came from and where you were going to. He was a noble man. The bond that we shared as a family is very strong, and nothing can break that. MERGAN was a fitness fanatic. What I take with me is that he always told me there's no excuse for going to the gym. If I can get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go to gym, and I can go at 4 o'clock again in the evening, despite holding down a job and taking care of my family, you can do it too. I remember also when we were in Durban, it was myself, Procession, and MERGAN. We would go to the gym in Chatsworth in Unit 3, and he would really put us through the ringer. First, we would start with Taibo classes, then the super circuit, and then finish up with a game of squash. That was my brother. He believed that his body was a temple and that he took care of it to the best of his ability, and he has instilled that in his children as well. He, from just going to gym, he escalated to Taekwondo, and he was a second-degree black belt in Taekwondo. And he's instilled this discipline in his children, Tyler and Cami, as well. MERGAN, whilst he was in school, was an amazing artist. He sat with my cousin's daughter, or not actually sat, lay on their backs on scaffolding with my cousin's daughter, Kashane, who was also now late, and drew a basketball mural on the wall of their room. He was also a graphic designer. He also was an amazing basketball player. When we were in high school, they were one of the front runners in playing basketball at school. Dino is here, Lucanus is here, his childhood friends, thank you for coming. And together they created the Crossmore Vikings basketball group or team. And they tried to get the youth in the community to get involved. I remember Coca-Cola was so impressed with their initiative that they actually installed a basketball court on my mom's, or next to my mom's and my dad's premises. And then the children from the community will come and play basketball. He had his Natal colors in basketball, and he also, I think, encouraged Procession to also follow in the footsteps of playing basketball, to an extent that MERGAN also got Natal colors in basketball. As a son, he was devoted to Mommy and Appa, and despite adverse circumstances, he always made the time to honor them. He treasured them, and nothing would stop him from making the time to see him. As a brother, he was always quietly considerate, never interfering, but humbly guiding us through life's many challenges and adversities. He was always full of love, care, and support. And I know as a husband to Catherine and a devoted and loyal father to Cami and Tyler, that they meant the world to him. His kids were always priority for him. He made sure that they were disciplined through their skills in gymming and taekwondo, and he believed that having a good and sound mind, body, and soul was the making of a godly person, and he was a godly person. He made sure that he always found time for everyone, and I just want to say that in celebrating his life, I know that he is absent from the body, but his spirit will live on in us forever. His legacy will live on in each one of us. And I think, sometimes we question God, and I have been questioning him a lot recently. But I think God looks down from heaven and he sees a beautiful flower and an empty space in his garden, and he plucks the best ones. MERGAN, I know, is reunited with my father, and together they are rejoicing, free from pain, free from torture. He really had a difficult time recently, and we looked on, tortured as well in spirit, and feeling so hopeless, or rather I should say useless, being unable to relieve him of that pain. But I think God saw fit that he could not handle this anymore, and he needed that freedom from pain. So, having said that, I believe, I don't know how many of you have read the poem As You Like It by Shakespeare. Shakespeare said that our lives or the world is just a stage and we are merely its actors. We come in, we play a role, and we exit the stage. The question is, when we exit, do we get a standing ovation? Do we get an applause for the role that we have played? How many lives have we touched? What impact have we made on them? What legacy do we leave behind? My brother should get a standing ovation today because he lived a noble life, an honorable life, and he has fought the good fight. He has run the race. It is now his time to rest. And I just want to assure Cami and Tyler that he will always live within you. Somebody once said to me that they could see the type of person or the type of father that I had, even though they had not met him, because they could see it through me. So when we lose loved ones, they may be absent in body, but their spirit lingers on in us, and everything we do and every step we take forward should be a tribute to them, in honor of them, and a legacy that lives on through us. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I'm actually going to read this tribute on behalf of my dad, Kevin. Dear friends and family, firstly, thank you all for being here today. It makes me so happy to see how much love people had for Mergan and his family. Mergan is my best friend. We've been friends for 22 years. A best friend is someone I think God gives you to make your life easier and more enjoyable. And my life was definitely easier and enjoyable with Mergan by my side. We've been through a lot together. We've shared experiences and made many memories. He was and always will be a real brother to me. We first met at Hirsch's, a company we worked for back then. We then moved up to Johannesburg with our families to start a new life. Soon after, we started our own part-time business doing plumbing and gas installations. We got to spend so much time together. We would work on Saturdays, but the highlights of our day was lunchtime. Megs was always excited to have our favorite Burger King. We would drive all the way to Rivonia just to eat it every Saturday. We also got to travel around and out of South Africa, and we've met some high-profile people. We traveled to and from work together every day, talking about life and motivating one another. Mergan was never shy to teach and share his knowledge with others. And I'm really going to miss our drives and sharing our lunch every day. We were always there for each other and each other's families. Mergan was always someone I could trust and rely on. And words cannot describe how much I miss him. There's a void in my heart and life now that he's not here anymore. I walked with him through his journey of cancer, and some days weren't easy, but I always encouraged him to stay positive and keep fighting. He was so strong, and he fought to be there for his family as long as he could. The last time that I spent with Mergan was on my 50th birthday a few weeks ago. We sat and spoke and spent time together, and that was really the best thing for me. Even during these last few months, I'm so grateful for the time and the moments that I got to spend with him. Megs, I love you so much. My heart is so sore today, but I'm comforted knowing that you are at rest. And I will do my best to be there for your family and your loved ones. Until we meet again, rest well, my dear friend. Thank you.
This is a message from my cousin in Australia. Mergan, my heart overflows with love and gratitude for the incredible person you are to me. The memories we've shared, the moments we've cherished, and the lessons you've taught me have shaped the very core of who I am today. You have been my guiding light, a beacon of strength and warmth during both sunny days and stormy nights. Your early morning gym sessions inspired me to embrace a healthy lifestyle, pushing me to be the best version of myself. Your dedication to my family has been nothing short of admirable, demonstrating the true essence of love and unity. From the very first day you opened your home and heart to me, I felt like a cherished member of your family. Your hospitality knows no bounds, and the warmth of your embrace made me feel safe and loved. Your kindness knows no limits. You have been a pillar of support, not just for me, but for everyone fortunate enough to know you. Your selflessness and compassion have touched countless lives, leaving an indelible mark who have crossed your path. Sunday mornings were always a delight, as you would whip up the most delicious breakfast, creating an atmosphere of togetherness and joy. Your presence alone brought comfort and joy to every gathering, filling the room with laughter and happiness. Above all, you were the most genuine person I have ever known. Your ability to celebrate every one of my achievements, big or small, filled me with a sense of pride and inspired me to strive for even greater heights. I want you to know that the love and admiration I hold for you will forever burn brightly. Your legacy of kindness, generosity, and love will continue to live in all of us, who have been blessed to call you family and friend. Thank you for being the incredible person you are, for enriching my life with love, and for leaving an enduring impact on my soul. Your presence has been a gift, and your spirit will forever dance among us. With all my love and deepest gratitude, I hope you will be watching me. I will not let you down, promise. I love you, Mergan, always. Your nephew, Jason.
Hi, good day, everybody. I'm Mergan's friend. And for the better part of my life and growing up, Mergan and I have been inseparable and best mates. And no matter how much time has passed, even though we haven't met up as much as we would after we've been youngsters, there's always been a connection. The one thing with Mergan is, and I can just tell you the story, is that I moved to Chatsworth in 1988 from Tongaat, and you grew up in a sheltered life, and you were a sportsman. And when I moved to Chatsworth, my first day at school was somebody involved in a fight, and I saw blood, and I was very intimidated. Much shorter then, and there was this whole thing about moving to Chatsworth and not having friends. And Mergan, even though he was smaller than I was, before the weightlifting, always had the stature of someone quite large, And for the first time I met him, I felt safe, even though he was shorter than me. He had this, I don't know, maybe the word butch is not right, but he had this sense of, he's got my back. And for the first time I met him, we took to each other. More so because I didn't know who to turn to, and I met Lucanus, and I met a bunch of friends. And our coming of age story, as we grew up, was like a movie. I had to quickly learn how to grow up because I had sisters that I had to protect. And Mergan was one of those guys in the evenings, at night, my family, his family was my family. When I went there, we literally did everything together. We spent almost every night together. We lived in each other's lives and got involved in sport. But what was interesting with Mergan is he was like a little dynamo. There's nothing he couldn't do. He had a passion to just work hard, whether he was working with his dad and doing plumbing, whether he wanted to get involved with work, with school, and then this dream that we had, this whole basketball thing. To understand, in 1988, basketball didn't exist as a sport. Right? So the three of us got together and we had this idea, and Mergan was the one like, we've got a library. If there's something to learn, we'll learn. And we sat there and we had this weird idea. What if we built a basketball court? And if you know Mergan, aside from in being a great artist. He could design stuff. And he went and did the research, he created the drawings. We went and had a meeting with the metalwork teacher, and we started building this basketball court in the middle of the quadrangle as we know it, and we painted it, and then we learned how to play it ourselves, right? The interesting thing, the motivation back then, even when, Mergan kept me out of a lot of trouble. I was very blessed to have friends who could ward you towards getting involved in mischief, and the type of friend that set you straight. And when you're wrong, he would tell you, that's not right. Even if I had like an argument with my father, he'll tell me, that's your father, that's your family, you have respect. And he had this vision to get things done. In saying that, I think a big part of the motivation was he didn't like the fact that there were gangs at the time, there were lots of things happening in our streets, and there was always this thing about different streets having these fights amongst each other. And all he wanted to do was, let's get everybody involved in sport. So he would train us, we would work together, we ended up building the basketball court, we put a team together, we used to break into the school at night. And instead of being out in the streets and getting involved with fights, we would train. And Mergan was the one who would say, half an hour more, let's learn how to do this, let's learn how to do that. And if that wasn't enough, we'd still then go sit in the art room in the middle of the night and paint and calm down. And I'm so grateful that I had grown up with someone like Mergan who had my back. Needless to say, we trained, we started the basketball club. We even started inter-school basketball, where other schools then started putting up courts, then we got involved with the NSH. And in 1991, both of us got our colors together. And we still end up playing ball together. And in a nutshell, I've heard everybody speak about Mergan, and it just makes so much sense that he touches people. Because there's nothing more than sincerity when it comes to Mergan. He'll never say things for the sake of saying it. And if he has to be hard and firm, he'll tell you straight up. But the one thing you knew, the person that you saw was genuine. He was the best mate to have by your side. And like I said, I used to be so brave. I did grow up to be taller than him, but if I had to go into a situation and Mergan was there, I was so much more braver because he just had that stature. And even when I moved to Joburg and we met up again, he went to gym, I went to gym, and he still kept that, and I can see it now, and it's prevalent with his family and his friends. Mergan's a legend, and the cancer story I just found out about recently, and it saddens me because it teaches you so much in life. We all go through stuff, but the one thing that we cannot deal with is regret. I regret not spending more time with him and interacting with his kids and meeting the family. My wife also has cancer for the past couple months, and we're also going through this thing, so I know what the family is going through. But I think the important thing is we come into this world, we all have a purpose. No matter how minute it is or how monumental it is, we got our role to play. But it doesn't mean our life stops at a point. It means that we live on through our families, through our loved ones, and his spirit is alive. And Mergan's not going anywhere. He'll be that guardian angel for his entire family, and just picture him being that guy saying, get to the gym, because that's who he is. And I want to say to the family, I may have not have been there for a long while, but I am here now. It doesn't stop calling me, calling us. All our mates in Durban and the school class group has sent countless messages of condolences and prayers for the family. And yes, we feel alone, or if you feel it sometimes too hard to bear, that's also something we need to learn in life, is that we all get so used to helping people. It's time to receive help. It's kind of hard, but I'm saying it's okay. And you can be very proud of the man that still lives within us today. He's been a legend, still a legend. And from this moment on, he lives in every one of you. Thank you.
The first time I met Mergan, I'm the Canis. And Mergan and I spent a lot of time together. Like I was in and out of the home. I got to know the family very well.
The first time I met Mergan, I was in Standard 4. I came from another school. Got into the classroom, sat down, and we were doing projects for English. And I first got a glimpse of the genius Mergan when he came to drawing. He had the best school projects. He drew better than any of us. And then inspired us, both me and Dino, to draw. Eventually, we all went into that kind of work. I became a graphic designer because of the inspiration of my friend Mergan. I remember his first project was, English project was sharks. And I remember watching him draw each shark differently. All my sharks looked the same. But his sharks looked actually like, what they were labeled as. And our friendship grew into high school. And the thing remarkable about him was his diligence with his hands. Mergan was a hard worker. I was spoiled. My mother never asked me to do anything. I remember getting home, sorting my stuff out, and then running off to Mergan's house. And the first thing we'd hear coming down the driveway was the vacuum cleaner. He had his chores that he had a set time, and I couldn't even talk to him till he was done with his chores. But I'd sit there waiting for him, and I learned so much from his life and his diligence. I'm glad that I met someone like him. In fact, one of the things that he did was protect me too. I was the local church boy, and I ended up being Crossmoor Secondary's pastor. Everybody called me Padre. For some people, it was a mockery, and they would mock me because at a very young age, I wanted to really just live for God. I became a pastor eventually. I am still. Mergan would protect my pursuit of God. I remember one time when somebody was questioning the way I lived and how he stood up for me and remarked to the other person about my pursuit of God. I'll never forget it. It was inside the technical drawing room, and I was trying to just do my best to live right. And then one of the other students mocked me. Mergan stood up, left his technical drawing board and stood up for me. And I'll never forget his face that day, so I can relate very well with Dino when he says he was a protector, even though he was the smallest of us all. Yes, we all were short and we all played basketball. Indian boys in Chatsworth. But I tell you, we had art room keys and keys for other classrooms too. Don't ask me how we got those keys. But we spent half our lives in school. We'd get home, eat, get back to school by 3 o'clock. Spend the rest of the day in school in the art room, and then from 11 o'clock at night, basketball till 1 in the morning. Then back home. And we got up to a lot of mischief too. If it's okay, I just want to share one thing from his life. If I had to look at his life and see what was the main aspect that really inspired me, it's this word, contentment. There's two types of contentment. One kind of contentment is when you are not willing to go any further with what you're doing, just content and staying there. And then there's another important contentment that the scriptures speak about. And when I think about Mergan, I think about contentment. Two things flowed in our lives in that season. One was art, and one was basketball. Two odd, peculiar things. But, I get a chance to meet people every day. Many happy, some sad, other blissful. Some seeming to breeze through life. I got a chance to visit Mergan just recently while he was sick. And I never heard a self-piteous, if that's a word from his mouth. He was just very, very content where he was, even in his pain. I first thought there are two kinds of people on the earth, some happy and some sad. It didn't take me long to realize that it's not the people that are different, it's just the days. The days are different. From human beings, it soon changes from a day that's sad and a day that's mournful to a day that's happy, and vice versa. I like to phrase it maybe the way Mergan would. If light colors were happy and dark colors were sad, then on some days we wear pastel. Some days are sky blue, pinks and oranges and yellows and whites. And then on other days we start with light green and again get to olive, and you know the day's changing. And then to blues and purples, and then black days. And then the circle, it seems, starts again, depending on that day and that circumstance, that situation, that outcome, that conclusion, that phone call, that letter from the bank, or that gain or that loss, or that horizon that seems to be coming closer. And we either tether on the brink of either promise or pain. So what then do we do about our years here on earth to make them as happy and productive as possible and peaceful as possible? We have to ask the question, how did the days come to be, and why have the days come to be? How many of you that are sitting here today planned to be here today? We didn't, right? But somehow we got stopped in our tracks. And the Bible says that there is more wisdom in the house of mourning than in the house of feasting. Because you know, when things are okay, we don't listen. But when life stops us in our tracks, then suddenly our hearing becomes much clearer. And there is something about blue and black days like this one. Ecclesiastes 7:14 says, when times are good, be happy. But when times are bad, consider. And God has made one as well as the other. I wish I could change this day. I wish I didn't have to say goodbye to my friend. But on this day, I choose to say one more time that all days are made by God. And this is the day that we have to say goodbye to our friend. And the secret of contentment, or staying happy, is simply this, that if we stake our life in pleasure, which gives us happiness for a short while, you find out it only lasts for a season. If we stake our lives on popularity, you'll find out, young men, that you're only as popular with your new Golf at the car wash till somebody gets the newest one. You find out that you can't buy popularity, you can only rent it. You find out that possessions, most of all, can't help us stay happy. I saw Mergan very, very content. The scripture says that life is just a vapor and a mist. How many of you on winter days used to blow your breath on the glass and then write your name? How long did your name last there? Just a breath in time. In fact, sometimes we're so busy working, we forget that the day is passing. Proverbs 23:5 says, cast a glance at riches and they are gone, for they will surely sprout wings and they fly off to the sky like an eagle. I had a young man in my youth one time. His name was David. David used to work in the bank. He told me a story. How many of you can agree after COVID, you found out that our families and our mothers and our fathers and our sisters and our husbands and our brothers are much more important than what we own? In fact, I met sick people that were so sick that came through COVID, just like Mergan and others that were supremely healthy, didn't make it. Some people saved their nest egg right till the end, and they were getting ready to retire and go on holidays and cruises, and they didn't come through. What am I saying? I'm saying treasure the person next to you. David was at the bank, and this old lady used to come to the bank every week, and she would say to him, David, how much is in my account? And he would say like 2,000 Rand, 3,000 Rand next month, because she had taken care of all her siblings when they were young. So when they were old, they would deposit money into her account as some kind of gratitude. One particular day, he came to the bank and he said, she said, how much is in the bank, David, today? And he said, 2 million. And she looked up and she said, what? And he looked back at the screen and he said, 2 million. Her husband had owned a BP petrol station in Chatsworth. And BP had backpaid him after he had passed on. How many of you like that story? But you know something? She passed on 2 weeks later. There is no guarantee with the breath that we have. There is no guarantee for life. There is no guarantee for moments, and I think what Dino said just now is so important. I wish I'd spent more time with him. We spoke regularly. I would call him. He wasn't one for phone calls. I would make all of them. But I wish I'd spent more time with him. Don't let the person next to you and those that are in your life wish the same. Try and take as much time as you can to show love to one another. So grateful to have met his family, been in his home, and I'm grateful for the man called Mergan, who showed me how to really be happy. God bless you.
Good morning, everyone. I am here to tribute a speech from my aunt, also known as Procession, Uncle Mergan's sister. Let me continue. My darling brother, you've left such a deep void in our lives. No words can ever express the deep pain we feel with the thought of not hearing your voice again, or not being able to give you a hug, or tell you how much we love you. We know you are in a better place right now, free of pain and suffering. It was heartbreaking to watch you in pain and know that we could not alleviate it. If I could take away your pain and take your place, I would have done it. I would have done it in a heartbeat. You have touched so many lives far and wide, family and friends who all know you for your humbleness, humility, kindness, and selfless love. Life is never going to be the same without you in it. Our hearts are breaking. I can't wait until our family are reunited again. We have always had and will always share the close bond, the undying love that we always carry around for each other. Not even death will stop the love we share. Love you for eternity, my precious brother. Thank you everyone so much.
Thank you to all of you. Yes, unprepared. And I want to say thank you to Pastor also for doing that little scriptural work, done my work, helped me a lot. We want to leave now to the crematorium. So before we leave to the crematorium, you are welcome to accompany us to the crematorium if you feel the inclination to do so. For those that will be at the venue, the family lovingly say, do not leave this venue please partake of lunch. They've lovingly made arrangements for lunch to be offered to each one of you. So please, can you all, and for those that go to the crematorium, to come back here and partake of lunch also. So thank you to all the tribute offerers. So much of love. So we get to that point where we look at our ages and we say, well, it was a short span of time we've been on this earthly plane. But what have we done in that short span of time? Have we achieved the goals that we set for ourselves, or has God set for our goals for us? God has brought us on this earthly plane to perform certain duties and certain responsibilities. And we can only look back. You've heard the tributes. We can only look back and reminisce and look at the achievements we've achieved during the course of our life, and the legacy we can leave behind. Through all those tributes, there was one little 4-letter word that came through. That 4-letter word, L-O-V-E. And we say, love is God and God is love. Let us all be united in the love of God. Thank you very much. Can we call on pallbearers to please come forward? Can we call on the undertakers to be here? Thank you. Pallbearers, please. Your family and friends, thank you very much. The family say thank you for your attendance. Thank you for giving them the support. Can I now ask you to all rise and let us form this blessing.
Om Namah Shivaya, 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 family, those coming with us to crematorium, the immediate family, we have 2 family cars here coming to
Thank you.